Vascularity. Vascularity is what happens when your veins sit close enough to the skin's surface to be visible without flexing. It's one of the most envied traits in bodybuilding, and one of the least trainable. It comes down to how close your veins sit to the skin's surface, and that's mostly decided before you ever touch a weight. Thin subcutaneous fat layer, genetically shallow vein placement, capillary density that's just built in from birth. Training and dieting down can reveal veins that are already there. It can't build veins that aren't. Frank McGrath is proof of how far this goes. The bodybuilding world nicknamed him Franksicles, because his veins don't just show up under the skin, they look like they're about to burst through it. Some guys get visibly vascular at 15% body fat. Others stay smooth, even shredded to 6%. Same discipline, same diet, completely different skin. The body doesn't hide what's underneath. For some people, it just has less to hide behind. Muscle belly shape. It's the three-dimensional roundness a muscle has when fully developed. The difference between a physique that looks built and one that looks sculpted. Most bodybuilders build muscle that looks flat, dense, layered. Impressive, but two-dimensional. The roundness is determined by how the muscle fibers attach to the tendon, decided long before anyone touches a barbell. Volume, intensity, time under tension, all of it makes the belly bigger. None of it changes the shape. Phil Heath walked into a gym for the first time in 2002. Came from college basketball. His biceps already looked like cannonballs. 7 Mr. Olympia titles later, three-dimensional roundness that wasn't built. It was already there. You can build big muscles. You can't build round ones if the genetics didn't put them there first. Muscle belly length. It's how far a muscle extends between its attachment points. The longer the belly, the more tissue fills the space between the joints. The fuller. Everything looks at every stage of development. Short muscle bellies leave visible gaps near the joints. Long ones create that seamless, unbroken wall of muscle that makes a physique look impossible from every angle. Flex Lewis stood 5'5" and competed at 212 pounds for 7 consecutive Olympia titles. Quads, biceps, back, all of it filled from joint to joint. No gaps, no empty space. 7 titles in 7 years. The most dominant run in 212 division history. Bone structure. It's the frame underneath everything. And in bodybuilding, no structural advantage matters more than the ratio between shoulder width and waist width. The V-taper isn't built, it's inherited. Wide clavicles push the shoulder attachment points further out. A narrow pelvis pulls the waist in. The taper that makes everything above it look wider and everything below it look leaner than it actually is. You can train the shoulders to grow. You can diet the waist down. But the distance between those 2 points is determined by bone. And bone doesn't negotiate. Chris Bumstead's clavicles are so wide and his pelvis so narrow that he creates a visual V-taper at body fat percentages, where most athletes still look blocky. 5 consecutive classic physique Olympia titles. Not just because of his conditioning, but because every time he walks on stage, the structure underneath does half the work before he even hits a pose. Some guys spend careers chasing that silhouette. He was born with it. Low body fat. The ability to stay lean year-round without extreme intervention is one of the rarest genetic advantages in the sport and one of the hardest to fake long-term. Body fat set point is largely genetic. Some people's metabolisms run hotter, their bodies preferentially burn fat for fuel, and their hormonal environment makes fat storage genuinely harder than it is for most. These are the athletes who show up to the off-season looking like they never left prep. Not because they're dieting harder, because their baseline is lower. For most athletes, the lean physique you see on stage costs months of aggressive caloric restriction, hormonal manipulation, and physical suffering. For a select few, it costs considerably less. Same food, same training, completely different body fat. Ramon Dino won his first Mr. Olympia Classic Physique title in 2025 and has been posting off-season content for years that most athletes would be proud to bring to a show. razor-sharp conditioning at body weights other competitors carry with visible softness. Muscular Development described him as having exceptionally thin skin from his very first Olympia appearance in 2021, before he'd ever won anything. The conditioning wasn't a peak. It was his baseline, easy muscle growth. Hypertrophic response, the rate at which muscle tissue grows in response to training, varies dramatically between individuals, and no amount of optimizing fixes the ceiling set by genetics. Myostatin levels, androgen receptor density, satellite cell activation, all of it determines how aggressively the body responds to resistance training. Some people gain meaningful muscle in months, others train identically for years and accumulate a fraction of the same result. Same program, same calories, different DNA. Jay Cutler gained 70 pounds of muscle in his first 2 years of serious training. First gym session at 17 in his brother's concrete company gym in Massachusetts. No coaching, no structure, just weights, food, and a body genetically waiting for the signal. 4 Mr. Olympia titles followed. The muscle didn't come because of the work. The work just gave it somewhere to go. Fast twitch fiber, muscle fiber type distribution is fixed at birth. And the ratio of fast twitch to slow twitch fibers determines not just how explosive an athlete is, but how much size their muscles can ultimately reach. Fast twitch fibers are larger in diameter, generate more force, and have greater growth potential than their slow twitch counterparts. More fast twitch means a higher ceiling. Always. You can't see fiber type in a mirror. You can only see the result. Athletes who grow beyond what their training should produce, who are inexplicably strong relative to their size. Ronnie Coleman won 8 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles. He also squatted 800 pounds, deadlifted 800 pounds at bodybuilding body weight. Yeah, buddy, lightweight baby wasn't a catchphrase. It was a man describing his working sets. Size and strength at that level don't coexist by accident. Injury resistance, connective tissue quality, the density and tensile strength of tendons and ligaments is largely genetic, and it determines how much punishment a body can absorb before something breaks. Tendons don't hypertrophy the way muscles do. Their baseline density is determined before any training begins. The athlete born with thick, dense connective tissue can handle loads that would tear a lesser-built body apart, accumulating decades of extreme work without the compounding damage that ends most careers prematurely. Eddie Hall became the first human in recorded history to deadlift 500 kilograms, half a ton, in competition in 2016. The load on his tendons and spinal structures was calculated to exceed what humans